Hello everyone, we are talking today about anger, which is the Feng Shui emotion for wealth. So yes, anger is related to wealth and also to health, but more to wealth. Bitterness and resentment are more associated with the family life area in Feng Shui, but wealth is more directly correlated with the wealth area. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, the wealth area is at the back left corner of the house when you're looking at the house from outside. So that's the wealth corner. And wealth is also expressed in the kitchen, regardless of where the kitchen is placed in your home. This is a very interesting relationship. Anger is an expression of the wood element, and the wood element rules health and wealth in Feng Shui. The wood element is not the plank of wood, but the live tree or the live forest. And so it's about life, all of natural vegetable life is what is associated with wealth. And what the wood element does is that it grows, and it can grow crooked or it can grow straight. That is what it does. It always grows. Even when a tree has reached its ultimate height, when it can't get any taller, right? It still keeps growing to the sides, the trunk gets thicker, and also the roots keep growing, and they keep looking for more places where they can pull up nutrients. The wood element is about pulling energy up. If you think about it, the tree, through the roots, uses water to pull up nutrients through the roots and the trunk, and then conducts it to the branches, and then it releases part of that water into the air. That's why trees are considered in Feng Shui. They're considered the connectors of earth to heaven. Humans are the connectors of heaven to earth. And the trees are considered the connectors of earth to heaven. And so it's this pulling, rising energy, right? And when you feel anger, it happens when there's something you don't like, and then you feel that rising energy. So you look at something that you don't like, and you feel the impotence of not being able to change it or correct it. And you may feel that you try to talk to people, but they do not respond, or they don't listen, and they don't see your reasons, and they get stubborn. And sometimes, they use arguments that are not really valid arguments to oppose what you're saying, and then the anger rises, right? Let me go ahead and share my screen. And so anger is the Feng Shui emotion for wealth. The opposite of anger is not peace, but action. And actions are preceded by decision. So here's the thing. Most of us in the Western world, we think of anger, if somebody's angry, we're like, calm down. Because we see calming down, being calm, being peaceful, not doing as the opposite of being angry. But in Feng Shui and in ancient Chinese medicine, the opposite of anger is not being peaceful or being calm. The opposite is action. So anger usually rises when there's something you don't like, and you cannot bring yourself to action about it, and then the anger comes up. Actions are preceded by decision, right? In the best of circumstances, they are preceded by decisions. In the worst of circumstances, the person just reacts. When you get angry for whatever reason, that anger is yours. You own it. No one makes you angry. It rises within you. So I hear a lot of people, and I see a lot of people on social media saying, I'm so angry at this politician. I'm so angry at the police. I'm so angry at people of a certain cultural background. And they're acting, they're behaving as if they are at the mercy of whatever happens around them. So they're here, and people are doing things or saying things, and they are at their mercy, like a leaf in the wind. So somebody says or does something, and then they get angry, right? But that anger is rising within you. And how do we know this? Because you could have like 10 people in a room, and you can have the same event happen, and not all the 10 people in the room get angry. Some of them react with anger. Other people may react with fear. Other people may be numb. Other people may be indifferent. Other people might think it's funny, right? And so the anger is an energy that rises within you. And it is the energy of the wood element. The wood element is also associated with thunder. And it's the thunder that indicates to the seeds in the spring that it's time to sprout. So it's connected with growth, with new beginnings. When the wood element is channeled in a healthy manner, you find it easy to make good decisions that lead you to what we call in Feng Shui perfect action. Anger is an energy that rises when you don't like what's going on. And here's the problem. It's a catch-22 situation, because if you express it, you hurt others. But if you don't express it, if you repress it, then you end up hurting yourself. So the only non-destructive outlet for anger, which is that energy rising, is action that is conducive to positive change, perfect action. The right decisions lead to perfect actions. Perfect actions use minimum effort to produce the desired result. So that is the definition of a perfect action. It is that you are able to produce an effect in the world by using the minimum effort. So if you're using too much energy in order to achieve a particular effect, then that's not perfect action. I don't remember the source, but I remember this story about a person is given a spoon, a tablespoon, and they tell them that there's this tub full of water, and they say, you need to empty this tub of water, and the person starts scooping the water 1 tablespoon at a time, when another person comes in, and then they just unplug the tub, and then they drain the tub. And so that's an example, if you could achieve a result, you could empty the bathtub of the water with the spoon, but that is not perfect action. Perfect action always uses minimum effort, and the minimum effort is as little effort as you need to produce the desired effect. And so in Feng Shui, laziness is not seen as a vice or as a capital sin. It is seen as a problem with the wood element. When the wood element is not working well, then you see laziness. Now you also see this a lot in teenagers, because they're growing so much. They appear to be lazy because they need to lie down and they need to take naps a lot, because they're using so much of that energy to physically grow. Right decisions don't come from right thoughts. That is one misconception, and there's so many things that we don't question. And one of those is that when we are following coaches or spiritual guides or gurus, everybody's saying you have to have positive thoughts, right? It's really, really bad for you, they say, to have negative thoughts. So you have to replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. However, the realm of thoughts has 2 sides to it. One of those is the thoughts that you have when you face a problem that you have faced before, and then your thoughts, thinking, consists of looking at your memory files and seeing, okay, how have I solved this problem before? Like, I'm really, really bad. I cook a lot, and I'm really bad about staining my clothes with oil, with cooking oil. And so this has happened in the past, and I know that by using a little bit of dish soap on my clothes and then washing the clothes, the cooking oil comes out. And a lot of the thinking that we do when we're trying to solve our problems is just checking our memory files for how we have solved similar problems in the past. But when we are confronted with especially big, large problems, then we can't go to our memory files. We have to use a different type of thought, which is imagination. So it's still thinking, it's still part of your mind, but it's not a thought, it's imagination. Right decisions come from inspired imagination. So here's the thing. Let's go backwards, okay? So we're seeking to achieve perfect action. And perfect actions, as we have discussed already, perfect actions come from making the right decisions. The right decisions come not from thought, not from reflection, but from inspired ideas. And inspired ideas come from unbridled imagination. And the only time when you really, really set your imagination free is when you have a still mind, when you are able to still the mind. They have found that in schools, schools where they had a lot of problems with kids going to detention, they have had amazing results by, instead of having kids do things they don't like to do in detention or just sitting there, by doing meditation. So they're teaching kids to meditate from an early age, and they're having fantastic results, because it's in that stillness of the mind that your imagination runs free, and then you get the inspired ideas that generate the right decisions that are conducive to taking perfect action. So how to steal the mind? Meditation is one way. You know, every spiritual teacher, every coach today, they'll tell you that they meditate. Marie Forleo meditates, Oprah meditates, Anthony Robbins meditates. That's a great way. However, for some people, for a lot of people, I think for most people in the West, it's really hard to just sit there and try to clear your mind, or just stand there and try to clear your mind, or lie down and try to clear your mind. That is very hard to do for a lot of people. So another thing that you can do is that you can do harmonious movements, and that also helps you clear the mind. So for example, if you go to a yoga class, or if you are doing a Tai Chi class or a Qigong class, it tends to make your mind more peaceful. Even if you go to a dance class that is not a peaceful music kind of dance class, like even if you go to a Latin fitness dance class, you will find that it clears your mind. So harmonious movement is another way to do that. And my favorite way is housework. Housework is a really, really good way to clear your mind. Now, the more mindless the housework is, some people complain because they say, hey, you know, like, I don't like to do housework because it's never ending, or I don't like to do housework because it's just so mindless. You know, I get so bored from doing housework. In the Buddhist monasteries, they actually, some people have told me who have traveled to those areas, that the most mindless jobs are sought after by the monks because it's an opportunity to clear their mind. And so they would tell me that they have these floors that have been buffed by hand for thousands of years by Buddhist monks, you know, and they have a sheen, a kind of glow that you could never achieve with a machine. And it's just really, really beautiful to see. And that's one of their preferred activities, to go clean the floors, because that's an opportunity to clear their mind. We have, you know, today in our home, we have bamboo floors, but when we first bought this house, it had what looked on the listing, you know, because I was still in Iowa when we put the contract on this house in Tennessee. And in the listing, it looked like the carpet was dark gray, and it ended up being really light gray, almost white. And so when the kids were little, you know, with a husband, 2 kids, and 2 cats, one of the mindless activities that was a really good source of inspiration for me was to get down with baby wipes on the carpet on my knees to clean the stains. And I always kept a notebook with me because you get such amazing ideas. You get such amazing ideas when you're doing housework. I am not particularly fond of housework. You know, I don't enjoy it like Martha Stewart says she enjoys housework. I don't. But I do find that when I do certain things, my mind gets clear and I get really good ideas. So once an inspired idea comes to you, you can make the right decision to turn it into perfect action. And so what perfect action can you take? Because right now, we're just ended the first wave of the COVID-19 lockdown, right? And we're waiting to see what happens as businesses start to reopen. It was supposed to be a really hopeful time for us to reintegrate ourselves into society. And then all of a sudden, you know, these things come to light about police violence, and then there's this protest, and at some point there's violence associated to the protest, you know, maybe not even the protesters in some cases, but persons who take the advantage of the situation to loot and to express their anger through destruction. And so we come to a point, you know, where you turn on the news and it seems like the whole country is burning up. One thing to remember is that at this very moment, and even at the moments, if you were watching live coverage of these protests, most of the country is at peace. Most of the world is at peace. Most of the country is at peace. Most of every state is at peace. Most of every city is at peace. If you look at the maps of a big city that has had lots of problems like Chicago, and you look at the places where the protests happen, you're going to see that it is not the majority of the city. So it's very important to keep that perspective, because it's easy for us to think the whole world is burning and then become afraid to even go on an errand, you know, to go for a walk or to get on your car and go on for an errand. Now, if you live in those areas, and I have some friends on Facebook that if they get out of their home, there's the the evidence of the destruction, right? That if they go to buy bread, they're going to have to go through broken glass and things like that. But if you're not in that situation, it's important for you to remember that's not your reality. That's not the reality you're facing right now. But I bet you have emotions. You have these emotions that are rising. And if you are tempted to get angry, think instead, how can I turn this anger into action? So I have made a list of things that I think that you could do. One of them is you could go on a demonstration. Like I have, my church is very big on social justice. So a lot of our friends, they're going to demonstrations, right? But that's not my cup of tea. I don't feel like I need to be going to a demonstration. But for them, it's like a really cathartic moment to go on a demonstration. And they're peaceful demonstrators. You could also write a letter to the editor of the newspaper where you express all your emotions and your thoughts about this. You could just write a post on social media. If you have a blog, write on your blog and share that with everybody that you know, and ask them to share that and make an influence in the world with your words. You could make a video to express your opinion. There's a lot of really interesting videos that are circulating right now. This is another thing that you can do, is you can work your muscles, because the wood element, that is also associated with anger, right? The wood element works on your muscles. Your muscles are ruled by the wood element, and remember that the wood element grows crooked or straight. And so working on your muscles, especially working in a way that is going to make your muscles grow, is a really good way to channel that energy that otherwise would become anger. And because there's two organs that are associated to the wood element too, that's the gallbladder and the liver. So the liver is the organ for wealth because it's directly associated with anger. And the gallbladder is associated with a different type of anger, which is more like bitterness. And that's associated with health and family. And so one thing that you can do right now is do a liver cleanse or do a gallbladder cleanse. Check with your doctor, check with your naturopath, your chiropractor, whoever you trust for your health decisions. And you make ask, maybe, I need a liver cleanse or a gallbladder cleanse. If you feel like you just get so angry and you don't know what to do with that energy. But you also can take supplements or herbal teas that support liver health or support gallbladder health. You can also get essential oils that are good for that. And I also have 2 actions to share with you from the Feng Shui viewpoint, 2 things that you can do today to start feeling better. So these are the Feng Shui right actions. One is to target health, family, and community, life area number 3 in the 9 Steps to Feng Shui system, my school. It is to throw out any food in the home that has gone bad. What I'm talking about is foods that have grown moldy, foods that are rotten. When all those times that you say you're going to eat more produce, and then your produce starts dehydrating in the refrigerator and then becomes like a stick. All these foods that have gone bad and you can't really eat them anymore, they're really bad for health from the energetic Feng Shui viewpoint. Because if you ate them, you would probably get sick. And so any foods that have gone bad need to be thrown out or composted, right? So that is to address health, family, and community. And the other suggestion is to address wealth. And wealth is associated with self-esteem, and self-esteem is associated with clothes. And traditionally, clothes have been made from plants. Now we have a lot of clothes that are made from petroleum, polyester, one example, rayon. But traditionally, clothes were made from things that came from plants. So pick out 4 items of clothing in your home or in your closet. Even better if you can do it by every family member. Pick up 4 items of clothing that are honestly rags and just rip them apart, tear them, or cut them to use for cleaning or to use for rags. Now, if you have been following me for a long time and you no longer have any rags at home, then what you can do is you can look for 4 pieces of clothing that don't fit you right now, like they're too big or they're too small, and donate them or use them for cleaning or let them go in some way. Maybe they're nice, you can even sell them. What's important to remember is the anger is not bad. Some people, they're like, oh, I can't feel angry because if I'm angry, that means I'm a bad person. This rising energy that becomes anger is a really good thing. It means you're healthy. If you have the ability to let that energy rise in a way that it will become anger, that means you're healthy. However, if you let it come out to hurt others, that's not good. If you repress it so it hurts you, that's not good. And so you need to figure out what actions you can take. So for some people right now, it may be make a donation, send some money to an organization you support. If you can't get out there and go demonstrate, or if you can't go out there and go help, then whatever your values are, whatever you believe is the truth, support that through your money, if that's all you can do right now. But don't let that anger consume you, and especially do not let that anger hurt the people you love. That's the message I wanted to share with you today.